we must be careful not to proselytize or convert one another to each other's religion. Respect is very important. We must build trust, create a common ground, a safe space where we can be together and express our concerns and listen to people who are mired in poverty, who are oppressed, who are suffering from all forms of abuse and violence. And when we talk about waging peace through interfaith dialogue and cooperation, uh, this kind of paradigm must prevail, the paradigm of what peace is all about, that it is not out there. We embody peace. And in the interfaith dialogue arena, the faith dimension must come to the fore, that the teachings and ideals of our respective religions in Islam, in Christianity, in Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, all of these religions are teaching good, some universal values that we resonate with, the deepest core of our being. And although, like in Islam, for example, you speak about justice and mercy and equality, and that's what peace is um, all about. In Christianity, we speak about love. In Buddhism, there's compassion, and so on and so forth. So all of this brought together in one common ground where people of different faiths can sit in a circle and respecting each other's tradition. We can create a microcosm of a world, and perhaps if there is, we can generate, a critical mass of people who are believers and who are true practitioners of their respective faith traditions. And the peace-building endeavor and the peace process will take us somewhere where we can believe in something together. Because the word peace and interfaith dialogue are now bandied around by different people all around, everywhere in our society, using these words as if it is, an expression of something that they're doing really on the ground that is working. But it cannot work. It may never work if at the heart of our endeavors there is no peace. We cannot be truly Muslim or truly Christian or truly Hindu or truly Buddhist and see each other, accept our differences, respect our difference, even appreciate our differences, and know that no matter how different we may be, we are here to relate with one another and to enrich one another, and that together, if we pull our resources, our talents, our capacities together, then we can create that critical mass for change, for true peace to come about in our midst. So the peace process, if it is to be comprehensive, I believe, must arise from the heart of faith. And if we peace advocates, peace activists would respond to the call of the times for, like for example, in the now cessation of violence, and everywhere else in the world, violence seems to continue to be erupting. Let us remember that fear is underneath all of this, fear of the loss of power, fear because we have forgotten who we are, where we are going, where we came from. And let us also remember that fear is a powerful force, but peace is more powerful. And we must believe in this force of peace and be the peace that we wish to see in our world. So we must be consistent in our ways. It cannot be the way some of our leaders are doing, addressing the peace process, the challenge to peace in our country, for example, by holding the sword in one hand and saying we are ready to dialogue. How can you dialogue with people when you're holding a gun or you're giving an ultimatum? So there must be consistency, there must be sincerity. In dialogue and interfaith dialogue in particular, I have learned, in my 10 years of engaging in relationship building with Muslims and Christians in grassroots communities in Metro Manila, I learned that the quality of your presence is very important. Presence as a peace builder, as a mediator. Um, you are the instrument of peace, and however people perceive you, they perceive you as sincere, as humble, as listening, as true, and you have a clarity of vision and the purpose, and your faith is strong. There is trust in that relationship. Trust can be built, and so that I think is very important in dialogue. Achieve a measure of success in our work, but it is also very disheartening to see what is happening in the larger context of our work, especially here in our country, when our government seem to be very inconsistent. Although our leaders would say that they want peace, there is we cannot. Many of us seem to be doubtful of that because of what is happening. The actions are seem to belie the intention. So we, the civil society members of the different faith traditions, are hoping to come together to respond in a way that will be in keeping with the highest teachings and ideals of our faith, to respond to the call of the times and hopefully to address the crisis in Mindanao. You are an inspiration to us, and we hope that your being here in our country will create, more energy for those of us who have met you and have heard of you, those of us who seem to have little power, little voice, to carry on with our work and to know that the power lies in your conviction and your integrity as a person, and that it is very inspiring and it is very contagious. So thank you very much for your inspiration.
Thank you very much, Marites, for those wise words that have come from your heart and also from the experience that you have had. Bishop Antonio Tobias is the Bishop of Novaliches and also the chair of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines Episcopal Commission and on Ecumenical Affairs. Although he is not here with us physically, I am certain that his ideals and his thoughts will be with us during the open forum which will now follow. As we promised our colleagues, our friends, and our kababayans who are there at the University of Indonesia campus, we can see you very well. By the way, we were always looking at you while we were having this at the gathering at the AIM. I also noticed you have a new participant. I'm sure during the open forum you may wish to introduce him. All right, so we would now like to request the members of the Philippine Embassy and the Filipino communities working there, and also the colleagues and the students of Pa Ahmad Shafi Ma'arif. If the first cluster of questions, we have the privilege of hearing from you. So could you please take the floor? I would only like to request if you could, your name, your organization, and we give you 2 minutes. Otherwise, we also ring this interfaith bell on you.
Thank you very much, Professor Garcia. I would like to, on behalf of the Philippine Embassy and the Filipino community in Indonesia, we would like to congratulate our RRM awardee. We are so proud of him. Well, of course, especially from us, from the Filipino community. And you have been enjoying the, the hospitality which this country has been giving to us. Again, Mr. Sharif, congratulations. More power to you. Although, of course, you would like to also to greet some familiar faces in the crowd, like for instance, Dr. Villacorta, who has been a colleague in Jakarta for so many years. And of course, to Professor Macaranas, Doc, you have been our teacher during the career ministry examination. You made economics for us very enjoyable and understandable. And of course to Ms. Rasul, we have the privilege of having her in Jakarta for several times during her activities as, we know her as an advocate of the Interfaith Dialogue. We have had the opportunity of having her in Jakarta. Now, probably I would like to introduce one of our colleagues who just arrived. Well, as you said earlier, traffic must have been caused a delay. So Jun Dimarukot I'm sorry, is with Gawad Kalinga. Gawad Kalinga is a project here in Jakarta, and they have been helping the less privileged sector community in the city. So probably I would like to give to them first the floor. They might have question. Pete.
My name is Pete Lapid from the Philcomin community here in Jakarta. Pa Ahmad Shafi mentioned about the two major Muslim groups here in Indonesia. But I assume also that all people, regardless of faith, are for peace, whether Christians, Muslims, or others. And I also assume that all religions teach peace to people. My question is, I also believe I've been in Indonesia for about 17 years, and I believe that Indonesians are peace-loving people. We have seen that and with our own eyes. My question is, being Indonesians as peace-loving people, something must have happened for some groups, Muslim groups, to become radical. I am not sure if Pa Ahmad can help us understand, because interfaith dialogue involves understanding each other in terms of where they are coming from. So maybe I give that question to Pa Ahmad.
Thank you. So can we please ask others in the Indonesian university to please share your thoughts or your questions? You are perfectly welcome. If you want to share your question in English, in Filipino, or Bahasa Indonesia.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Sarah from Ma'arif Institute. I'm here with my friends all from Ma'arif Institute. And first, we want to say that congratulations for Buya. We are very proud of you, and we hope we can follow your path in spreading peace and also maybe maintaining interfaith dialogue, hopefully not only in Indonesia, but also all over the world. Okay, and for I personally would like to give comment and sharing also maybe to Professor Amina Rasul about what he says about what happened in Mindanao today. I think I can a little bit understand like how she feared to see the product of dialogue and how she questioning the dialogue when in fact the dialogue really have problem when it's come to balancing power of majority and minority groups involved in the dialogue. I think as a part of majority groups in Indonesia, that problem also happened here. Like even though a lot of people involved in dialogue, but when we have Ahmadiyya crisis, some people also cannot decide what is right to the minority group. And I think it's kind of common problem that we have to solve because majority groups sometimes rather numb or disabled to see that they are neglecting the rights of the minority. And I think it is hard to change from majority rules others to majority protects and respect others. But I still believe that dialogue is better than violent confrontation, and dialogue itself can reduce the confrontation or the violence. But I think if we committed to interfaith dialogue, we not only need honesty and modesty, but also we need sincerity and big heart to give to others. And we need to understand that peace not always means comfortable choice, but the right choice especially for the majority groups that involve in dialogue. So I think like we will pray to the sustainability of the dialogue in Indonesia and the Philippines, and we also pray that Mindanao people and the Philippine people will achieve peace there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very incisive question. Could we ask any more participants at the University of Indonesia to please share your thoughts, your observations, or your questions? Take advantage of the space. You look wonderful out there. Don't be shy. That was an excellent question, by the way. The young people from Jakarta. That's where you are. Is that correct? So we'd like to hear from you. Anyone else? Yes, please go ahead. I can see your. The one in the middle. I think second from last row. Right? Or you can speak in any language that you feel comfortable in, and we have translators.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. I can hear you now. Go ahead. Please start. Your name and your where you come from.
Okay, my name is Taufik from our institute, but I would like give some remarks in Indonesian. Terima kasih. Jadi ada beberapa hal yang tadi dari yang disampaikan oleh Buya Safi Ma'arif yang ingin saya perkuat juga mengenai bagaimana sesungguhnya peran yang lebih besar yang dimiliki oleh kalangan tokoh-tokoh agama, termasuk juga dalam turut serta memberikan solusi terhadap problem-problem kenegaraan dan pemerintahan. Tadi sempat disinggung mengenai peran para agamawan untuk turut serta mewujudkan good local governance, tata pemerintahan yang baik di tingkatan lokal. Nah, pada aspek lain, saya kira kita semua perlu mendorong para agamawan di tingkatan lokal, atau kalau meminjam istilah di dalam level Interfaith Dialogue itu pada level yang kedua, yakni pada middle level. Saya kira pada tingkatan elit sudah clear, dan ini kita ke depan perlu mengendorse lebih kuat pada level tokoh-tokoh atau agamawan di tingkatan lokal, sehingga kemudian wacana dan kebutuhan untuk melakukan dialog antar agama, khususnya menukik pada persoalan-persoalan yang dihadapi oleh masyarakat yang nyata ada pada wilayah tersebut, bisa muncul dari tokoh-tokoh agamawan tersebut. Kemudian yang berikutnya, saya kira tantangan ke depan yang masih ada di Indonesia maupun di Filipina atau di belahan negara lain, saya kira adalah persoalan kemiskinan. Radikalisme selalu suka tidak suka itu berimpitan dengan problem kemiskinan dan keadilan, sehingga persoalan perjuangan untuk mewujudkan perdamaian, saya kira bergandengan erat juga dengan upaya-upaya demokratisasi, tidak hanya pada level politik, tapi juga pada aspek ekonomi, pada aspek hukum, dan lain sebagainya. Saya kira itu catatan ataupun tambahan tanggapan dari kami. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was, I presume, an excellent question. Now we would like to ask one member of the audience to please give a gist before we give the floor to the panelists and our principal speaker. Could we have someone to give us a gist in English or Filipino, the question? I was thinking either Manito, have you mastered Indonesian enough to translate at least the gist? My brother.
I would like to, but I think he talked too fast. But you can say someone else what he asked.
Okay, that's an excuse from De La Salle. Now, shall we? Oh, yes, please. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Please introduce yourself again. Go ahead.
His name is Taufik.
Yes.
He emphasized the importance of interfaith dialogue. It's not only in top leadership
Yes.
level, but also in middle ranks leadership. And he thought that this is very important to break down the common road, for example, that signed by elites of the religious leaders, and then down to the grassroots level, and it could be very important to eradicate radicalism as well as poverty. And the second comments from Taufik is
interfaith nga eh.
Go ahead.
okay. He also emphasized the importance of the role of religious leaders, not only in preaching or in sermon, but also in what mentioned by Pastor Pimari before about the involvement of the religious leader in good governance issues.
Governance.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much for that very kind translation of the main ideas that were found in the question. Could we now ask the panelists and our principal speaker to please respond to the questions that were posed? Please.
Oh, yeah. I think if we talk about radicalism, as asked by our friend in Jakarta, Filipino General Consul, I think the two factors are responsible for producing radicalism. First, the feeling of humiliation. Okay? The second, because of poverty. And then they try to conserve the support of radicalism by coining some kind of theology of death. Theology of death, meaning they prefer to die than to live, because they have nothing to offer to humanity. This what the people in Palestine, in Afghanistan, Iraq, for example, they feel humiliated by the alien forces to come to their land, to their country, their nation, without invitation, in the name of democracy and human right principle. We cannot impose democracy to other people. So I strongly criticized Mr. Bush many times, and when I met him in Bali 5 years ago, I asked him, what is the moral right you have? What do you have? What the moral right you have to invade other country? And he said, the answer he gave to me, because Saddam Hussein was a dictator. Yes, he's a dictator. I hate him, but do not. Why do you invade the Iraqi land? This is the problem of interpreting, of understanding the reality. I am afraid that the new imperialistic foreign policy launched by Mr. Bush, not by American people, by Mr. Bush, I think also responsible to create radicalism in many parts of the world. Yeah.
Our sister had a remark and a question for me. First, I absolutely agree with what you say. There is no substitute for dialogue, and our experience in this country has been that we have, through dialogue, interfaith dialogue and interfaith collaboration, managed to erase much of the walls that divided and the animosities that divided Muslims and Christians in Mindanao. Now, let me say that the animosity between the Muslim and Christians decades ago was really a product of political moves. It wasn't really the fact that the Muslims and the Christians hated each other, because in areas, for instance, like Holo, where I grew up, it is a 95% Muslim community in Sulu. But we had, at that time in the 70s, one of the biggest cathedrals in Mindanao. And this was 1970s. So politics, maneuverings, started to destroy the unity between the Muslims and the Christians in my community. Interfaith dialogue rebuilt that, and interfaith collaboration. But as I said, dialogue which has been utilized for peace processes is in danger, because it looks like it's being dropped by the government. And as Pa Shafi'i said, there must be no hidden agenda for dialogue to succeed. So I ask, if dialogue partners are suspect, how then can we sustain dialogue? And I'm hoping that Pa Shafi'i is going to have a chance to speak in bigger forums, like tonight you're delivering a speech, then maybe you might be able to, from your experience, give advice on how we can bring dialogue and the peace back on the table.
Thank you very much. I was wondering whether, Marites, would you have anything to add to the two earlier speakers?
I believe that when people are oppressed, or when they feel that they are not being heard, and this is going on for years and years, like those people I've met in Compostela Valley just a few days ago, they said that they have been suffering for the longest time from poverty, and government officials would go there to visit only when election time is nearing, and then the rest of the year they feel that they are neglected. When typhoon hit their community, they're so devastated and nothing is really happening there to help them. When this happens everywhere in the country, in various places, that's when they are prone, these people would take recourse to radical means, and they're very easily, converted to ideologies that are very violent. And dialogue in this case must not merely be a dialogue for show. Dialogue is as much listening as speaking. So listening is essential to dialogue, and heart listening, and there must be sincerity for it to work. Otherwise, it will fall meaningless, and it will just be used, and lose its impact, and people will no longer believe.
Thank you very much. We now come to one round. It could be the final round of questions from the floor. If I may take this opportunity to make this remark, and also maybe request the panel to respond. I actually believe that we are at a defining moment, at a critical juncture in our history, or hard choices has to be made. I would like to ask if the members of the panel, and especially our Ramon Magsaysay awardee, were asked by the members of both negotiating panels, how do we kind of retrieve the path to peace? how do we back off from the brink of what could be a very bitter war? What would be the steps that we could take, especially given the fact that we are now at the holy season of Ramadan? What would be the steps that you would recommend? I would now like to open the floor to any of us here who may wish to share your observations, remarks, or ask questions. Yes, please. From the Indonesian Embassy. Can I get a list? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyone else? 5, 6. All right. So we have 6 questions. So I have already given you the numbers. So just stand up and say who you are, where you come from, and you have 2 minutes for the remarks or the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to congratulate Pak Ahmad Shafi'i Marif for having chosen as the 2008 Ramon Magsaysay for the peace and international understanding. Of course, as
Excuse me, could we the volume so we can hear your questions, sir?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to congratulate Pak Ahmad Shafi'i Ma'arif for having chosen as the 2008 Ramon Magsaysay for peace and international understanding. As Indonesian, of course, I'm very happy and proud of you. My short comment is that the root of cause of tension and conflict in Indonesia as well as in other countries that is not due to religious factor or minority versus majority, but due to several factors that within society and from external factors, which include political frustration, economic injustice, and social exploitation. So my simple suggestion or solution that we must having integrated and comprehensive development policy to overcome this conflict and tension. In case of insurgency, I think better use of the soft power rather than hard power to overcome and achieve lasting peace. And I agree also with my sister Aminah that there is no a good war and bad peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have the second person to hear, please. Before we move on, could we request our companions, our colleagues, our brothers and sisters from University of Indonesia to also please turn off your cell phones. I am told by the technical person that somehow some cell phones are still turned on, not in vibrate, but turn it off completely so it does not interfere with our system. Thank you very much for your kindness. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. My name is Alim. I am from the AIM International Muslim Student Association and from the Young Model Professionals Network. Madam Amina Rasul has been our advisor in many occasions, and Professor Macaranas is my honorable professor from the Regional Integration in Asia course. And I would like also, in behalf of my organization, we would like to extend our congratulations to Pa Muhammad Sharif for the citation for the Ramon Magsaysay Award. My question I would like to address to any of the panelists and the speaker. Most of the areas that were war-torn and conflict-affected development, high poverty level, incident, and low literacy rate. To cite some examples, those countries were mentioned, like for example, Afghanistan, Iraq, ARMM for the Philippines, West Papua for Indonesia, Patani for Thailand. My question directly is, were there parallel programs for the interfaith groups like the Ma'arif Institute or the organization represented here to address these problems?
Thank you very much. The third question came also from this section. Your name and your organization, please.
My name is Sarah Kabatin. I'm not representing any organization. Actually, I just chanced upon the talk. I had an interview.
You call it serendipity.
Yes, I had an interview earlier for a part-time job here. I'm actually a community-based artist, and I'm teaching ecological consciousness, but my approach is more integral. So I want to embody all possible values that we can teach to communities or to any. So I'm coming from a very layman perspective, and I'm not. I realize mine is not really a question, but it's more of a comment on how the peace process and is being